And we can see this application has now been completely disabled on my Fire TV because I don't want these applications running in the background, consuming valuable memory and even slowing my device down. And this is just one of the features of this brand new Android TV, Fire TV streaming device optimizer, which is absolutely free. And it really is the best way you can optimize your streaming device in the year 2026. Let's jump right into it. Now, all credit is due to Brian, who actually created this toolbox, which is a cross-platform PowerShell tool to debloat and optimize your Android TV devices, your Nvidia Shields, your Chromecast, your On 4Ks, all of your Android TV devices. But you can also use it on your Amazon devices, just with slightly reduced functionality. As we know, that company is a little bit more restrictive in terms of what you can do on their devices. So the first part of this video, I'll do my demonstration on my Nvidia Shield Pro. I'll then jump over to my Fire TV Cube just to show you what is possible. And then lastly, I'll show you the installation steps on how you can get this on your devices. And it is cross-platform, so it does support Windows, Mac, and even Linux. So let me show you what it looks like. Now, when you start the toolbox for the first time, this is the first thing you'll see. Now, the toolbox scans your local network upon starting, and it will identify any Android devices which have ADB enabled, and it will show you the results at the top. Now we can see in my house, I've got 6 devices which are available to connect, and we can see all of them except 2 are coming up with unauthorized. And as you know, when you make an ADB connection for the first time, you do have to accept the ADB connection request. So on these 2 devices, I've already done that. So let's say, for example, let's connect to my Shield. Let me click on that. And we've now made a connection, and we can see at the top of the toolbox, it does say Nvidia Shield, which is the current active device. And now we just have a bunch of options we can quickly go through, which allow us to optimize and debloat my Nvidia Shield. So we have optimize, which I will show you in just a second, which allows you to disable system services, allows you to disable packages on your device, allows you to also tweak the animation speed settings, the background process limits, really just lots of things you can do on your device, really just to squeeze maximum performance from it. Now you have a restore option, which is very handy. So if you want to undo the stuff you've done before, you can select that. Now report, I'm going to actually start on because I think this is really cool. So if I press the E button or just press enter here, this is now gathering a health check report of my device. We can see which applications are running, the amount of memory they're consuming, and the current state of them. So we can see it says total bloat memory 800 meg, guys. So that could be cleared up if I follow this process. Now you do have the option to enable live monitor. Let me turn that on. And this will now show you a real-time stat of your temperature, your RAM, and your memory swap size. And it does auto refresh every 3 seconds. And you can see it's doing exactly that. So what a cool feature you can use to monitor or have a real-time monitor of your streaming device. And this even works on your Amazon Fire TV devices as well. Okay, let's press escape to go back. Then you have option for launcher setup. So this is probably one of the most common things people ask that I've bought a brand new Chromecast. I've got an Nvidia Shield. I've got an On 4K Pro. What's the easiest way I can change my default launcher so the next time I press the home button, I don't see what you see in the background, the default screen, which is just laden full of adverts and sponsored content. How can I change all of that with one click? Well, this launcher setup allows you to do exactly that. You can also install applications. You can view the profile settings. You have a recovery option, which then automatically enables all previously disabled options. You can change the display scaling. You can reboot. You can disconnect. And you can go back. So let's start from the top. Let's go to optimize. Now the first option asks you that do you want to apply all the default actions without actually reviewing them? Now if you're a total beginner, you can actually select yes here, but it means that you won't be able to see exactly what's being disabled on your device. And I do believe that most people following this process are going to be a bit more advanced than standard users. So I personally would say no to this option. Okay, so you can see it's identified that there's Google feedback running on my device. I have options to disable it, skip it, or even uninstall it. So I don't care about that feedback. I'm going to click on disable. I then see the message that Google feedback has now been disabled. Next up, we have the print service. So let's also disable that. I have no interest of printing from my Nvidia Shield. Let's click on disable. That's now disabled. Android gallery. So again, I have no interest in that. I'm going to click on disable. And we can see after each package name, it does say safe because these are the applications which are typically completely safe to disable without really causing any real adverse impact on your device. But you will see some of the risky ones in just a second. So I'm not interested in Google Play Movies. I'm going to click on disable. I don't care about Google Play Music, disable. Then you got Netflix, so I'm actually using that, so I'm going to click on skip. Then you got Prime Video, I'm going to skip that. Then you got the Disney Plus, I'm going to skip that as well. Then you got YouTube Music, so I don't want that, I'm going to disable that. Then you got this one here, I want to disable that. Then you got Pluto TV, so let's, actually I'm not using, I'm going to uninstall that. That's now been uninstalled. So you can see, guys, total management of your applications, your background process, all done through this toolbox. Then you got Tubi TV, let's skip that one. Sling, let's uninstall that. Plex, let's skip that. And then you got Daydream, the screensaver. Now you can see this one, it does say medium because potentially disabling your screensaver could have other adverse effects. So this one I'm going to click on skip. Virtual keyboard, I'm going to click on skip. Channels provider, let's go for skip. Google Assistant, now again, if you're not using voice commands on your device, you could disable this, but I'm going to leave mine as skip. Now you can see we have a few here which are high risk, which is the channels provider, the Google Assistant, and also Chromecast built in. So I personally would click on skip and leave those alone. Then you got text to speech, let's also click on skip. Then you got the home handler, let's click on skip. Then you have telemetry data, so I do want to click on disable for that. Stop collecting information about me. Then you got diagnostics, let's disable that. Feedback, disable. Sponsored content, so I will disable that because that's very frustrating. And you can see in the background that sponsored content should now be removed from my device. Optimization service, I'm going to skip that. Not sure what that is. System hooks, I'll skip that. GeForce Now, I may want to use that, so let's click on skip. Casting service, I want to skip that. Ambient screensaver, skip. Google Speech Services, I want to do skip. System updater, so again, people that don't want to update the Nvidia Shield, maybe they're fed up of updates from Google TV, you can actually disable that if you want to. But in this demonstration, I'm going to do skip. I don't personally host a Plex server, but I'm going to click on skip. Stock launcher, I'm going to do skip from here because I'm going to show you the easier way how you can change your stock launcher by using this toolbox. So let's go for skip. Then you have the animation settings. So by default, they're normally set to 1. So you can say yes to set them to 0.5. I previously changed mine to 0.0 just for maximum performance, but let's just set it to 0.5. That's now done. Now here's the key part. So it's now asking you how many background processes can run on your Nvidia Shield at the same time. So you have the standard, which is unlimited, but if you are really memory conscious, if you want to make sure that I only have 2 or 3 things running on my device at the same time, nothing else should be allowed to run without terminating one of the previous processes, you can then be more aggressive and choose one of these options. So maybe you could do 3. So that allows you to always keep your VPN running in the background, maybe your custom launcher, and it gives you capacity for 1 more application. So it is quite aggressive, but depending on your Android TV device, if it doesn't have much RAM, then you may see benefit in setting that as 3 or maybe even 4, but I'm going to leave mine as standard. Okay, we can see we get a summary now. We've disabled 12 applications and we've uninstalled 2 and we've skipped 24. So you can add a reboot at the end. Let's say yes to that. And we can see in the background, my Nvidia Shield now automatically begins the reboot process. So I was just blown away at how effective this tool is, how easy it is to use. Literally with just a couple of clicks, you can go ahead and optimize all of your streaming devices, Android TV devices, Google TV devices, and again, even see some benefit of disabling certain things on your Fire TV devices. It really is a fantastic toolbox. And again, all credit to Brian who made this. And we can see in the background, my device now properly restarts. And I mean, I don't want to say it's a placebo effect, but it does look like moving around, opening things, double tapping home, it does all seem to be a little bit more smoother. Now, if I actually go to the toolbox, let's update the stock launcher to a custom launcher using this toolbox. So let's go down into launcher setup. Now, what this does, this basically shows you some of the most popular launchers like Project Ivy, like F Launcher, like Wolf Launcher, and it tells you which ones are already installed. And if they're not installed, it gives you the ability to then install them on your device. So let's say, for example, we want to install the AT4K launcher. Let's click on that. It says this is not installed. Do you want to open up the Play Store? Let's select yes. And we can see in the background, it opens up the Play Store and even takes you directly to the application page. Let's now click on install. Give that a second, and then we'll jump back to the toolbox. It says the application has now been installed successfully. Do you want to disable the stock launcher? So let's say yes for that. Disable stock launchers, let's say yes. Let's say yes to all of these. And it says 4K has now been set as your default launcher. Well, we can test that. Let's now press the home button on my Nvidia Shield. 3, 2, 1. And we see straight away it takes us to that custom launcher. I can click on allow, and that's the custom launcher working absolutely fine. If I open up any application like this one here, as soon as I press the home button, it will always stay inside that custom launcher. Now, let's say, for example, you want to undo that and go back to the stock launcher for whatever reason. Let's go back to the toolbox. I can now go back into the same menu, launcher setup. Let's go to that. And we see the last option is stock launcher. Let's select that again. Because you want to enable it, let's say yes. That's now been done, which means if I now press the home button, I'm hoping that will take us back to the stock launcher, and we can see it's done exactly that. So let's go back to the toolbox. Now, talking about undoing the stuff that we've done. So let's say you want to re-enable something that you disabled before. You can go to the restore option, and it says, do you want to automatically use defaults, or do you want to individually review the things that were disabled? So let's go to review. And then it shows you the stuff that you disabled. So it says that we previously disabled Google feedback. Do you want to restore it? Let's skip that one. Do you want to restore the print spooler? You can do that. So this is the best way if you want to undo anything that was previously disabled. But if you're looking for a quicker approach, if you want to undo everything that this toolbox has done and re-enable everything that was disabled, you can just select the option recovery. So this one will basically re-enable everything that was disabled by this toolbox, making your shield more or less back to what it was before you started this process. So if you want to do that, you also have that option as well. So you can see, guys, in terms of optimizing your Android TV devices, your Google TV devices, I can't praise this toolbox enough. It really just optimizes these devices. It disables background processes. It disables unused applications, tweaks the animation speeds. It really just does a lot of things. And again, I just think it's the best way if you're looking to optimize your Android TV, Google TV devices. Well, let's back out of this and let me now jump over to my Fire TV Cube, which you can see in the background. So let's now select that one, the 3rd Gen TD. That's my Fire TV Cube. Let's select that. Okay, so what does work? So what I can show you is I can go to the report. Let's do that now. And this should show you a real-time report of my 3rd generation Fire TV Cube. We can see the applications which are running in the background. I can enable the live monitor mode, and we can now see how much RAM is being utilized and the applications which are using most of that RAM. So that works absolutely fine. Let's back out of that. Now, we can't modify the launcher for obvious reasons because Amazon have disabled the ability to do that. But what you can do, for example, is you can push applications from here. So you can select this option, whichever application installation files you have on your device, you can push them with this toolbox onto your Fire TV device. Let's go to optimize. Let's select the option to individually review these applications. Okay, we can see lots of the Google applications, the Android TV applications are not going to be available, which is why it quickly goes past them and says they're not installed. Now we can see it does notify that Netflix is installed, but I'm going to skip that one. Pluto TV, you got options of disabling it, uninstalling it. I'm going to go for skip. Let's skip Tubi. Let's disable this one. Let's disable this. Now you can disable the screensaver if you want to, but I'm going to leave mine as skip. Now here's one of the key things we can do on the Fire TV devices is to limit the background process limit. So again, as I mentioned before, if you're very conservative with the memory usage, you can just say that I don't want more than 3 or 4 things running in the background on my device, particularly for older Fire Sticks or Fire TV devices with less RAM. You will see lots of benefit limiting how many things can run in the background. So you can be very aggressive and just say 1 or 2, but I would say even having 3 or 4 things running at the same time should be enough for a standard user. Or if you want to go for the default, you can go to standard. This will allow you to run as many applications as you want, but it does mean over time your device will slowly run out of memory, which means you probably have to then restart it. So let's leave mine as is. I don't want to reboot my device. So you can see that Amazon devices are more restrictive in terms of what you can do, but still as a way of optimizing them. But I will still say that some optimization is better than no optimization. So if you can disable more things, it is better to do that. And if you can optimize the number of processes running in the background, and it will greatly improve the performance of your streaming device. So let me now show you how you can get this on your devices. So this is the person's GitHub page, and I will leave the link to this in the video description and pinned comment. It's a very, very straightforward installation process, depending on whether you're doing this on a PC or a Mac or Linux. But essentially you want to install PowerShell 7 and then use that to run this script. So if I scroll down, now on my Windows 11 box, I just had to run one command, which you can see here. is this winget command, which installs the latest version of PowerShell. You can copy that, paste that one line in, press enter, and this will then automatically install that latest version for you, because on my device it's already installed. Once you've done that, you can then get the script from the top where it says releases. Let's click on that, and this is the latest version of the script here. Download that. You'll probably go into your downloads folder. You can then just navigate to where the script is downloaded and just type in this command here. Press enter on that. Now then launch it on your device. So that's pretty much this video, guys. Many thanks for watching. I know lots of you are always asking on the best way to optimize our Android TVs, Google TVs, and of course Fire TVs. I do think this toolbox with all of the features I've shown you today really is one of the best ways to do that. So really appreciate your support. Do leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think, and I'll hopefully catch up with you guys real soon. Thanks.